there's a lot of new information about ArenaNet's unannounced project coming out of a live stream from the main composer of Guild Wars 2 that honestly makes it seem like whatever this unannounced project is coming out next year. Well, I guess this year, as it is 2025. Well, there you go. So let's go in there and check what it is about. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live. And let's get into it. So we all know about the unannounced project. Some people think that it's Guild Wars 3 when it got leaked that they were thinking about making this game a year ago. Some people think it's the Gladius Art Guild Wars Arena. That is like the card game that is supposedly coming out from Guild Wars 2. There's a lot of possibilities, but we know that they've been hiring since End of Dragons to make this unannounced project. And there's a new interview. Well, this is not an interview, it's more a live stream. The main composer of Guild Wars 2 was talking about, what their projects from him are, and he talks about a little bit of this new project as well. I have everything here with timestamps, so you guys can go check it out if you want as well. And you can see here the first thing he says in this interview is, there is this project I recorded in Asheville over this summer in 2024. That will be announced soon, I hope. So there is a potential announcement from this new project he's working on that will be, according to him, announced soon. Now we know that this is a Guild Wars 2 project and an Arena project because, well, in this post back in summer this year, he posted a picture of them recording for Janther Wild's soundtrack. There's some Guild Wars 2 music coming very soon that I'm proud of, as well as something else I've been cooking up for the last year that is still a big secret. Truly can't wait to finally be able to talk about it. Obviously, the Lineage project that is not Guild Wars 2. Now, we know that this is the case as well because the Nashville studio that they were recording in is a studio that records a lot of music for video games. And of course, as well, they cover Guild Wars 2. You can see it right here on the bottom. There it is, Guild Wars 2 soundtrack. Now, this is very important because guess what? Music studios are very, very, very expensive. This means that ideally you want to get one session, record everything, and not come back. This is why it's very, very likely that they, went in, got the Janther Wilds OST, and they instantly started working on this other thing just to make it a bit less expensive. Now, of course, it could be the case that at the same time, at the same day, they recorded, this composer recorded something else for another company, but the likeliness of that happening is very, very low. It wouldn't make sense, and I don't know why they will also at the same time record in the same studio at the same day at the same time for both games, for both companies. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So you can pretty much tell that whatever Arena is working on the side that is not Guild Wars 2 was recorded at the end of summer this 2024. The next timestamp says there is gonna be some. I'll blur this one in here too. Maybe I shouldn't. I'll hint at it. Okay, so there's gonna be some additional YouTube content of me breaking down some Guild Wars music, some of my favorite tracks. And then there'll be some content of me breaking down some music for hopefully the next project that gets announced in the new year that I can't talk about. From a studio I can't talk about, on a game that I can talk about. So obviously this is a very secretive project right now. He probably is under some NDA that prevents him to mention any of this, as it is an important, they want to make the announcement. They don't want the information to come out and get leaked, just like what we got in the Guild Wars 3 leaks from the NCSoft executives last year. They don't want another situation like that, so obviously they don't want anyone talking about it. I'm working on some YouTube content. It'll be on my channel, on a couple of other channels, and I think it'll spread far wide. I'll do some very itty-nippy deep dives on how I write, or how I orchestrate, and how I do programming, sound design, and all that stuff. What I guess this is gonna be some sort of video like this that we used to have in the Guild Wars 2 channel, where the employees and the artists talk about how they did their own stuff for the game to make it a little bit more interesting and fun for everyone, and get a bit more invested into the game. I think it's a great idea, and I'm very, very interested to see what they say about this. And it most likely will be about Guild Wars 2, and whenever this unannounced project is announced, about that new thing as well, and we'll be able to get even more context about what it is. Then let's start talking about the music of this new specific project. Something like Guild Wars is not very dynamic. There's ambient music, the game is constantly checking if you're in a fight, and if you're not, then the ambient music continues to play, or silence continues to play. And if you get into a fight, there's a combat track for you to play. And that can be random, or it can be an intentional choice, but that's about it. The new thing that will be coming next year has a way more complicated system, where there is a little bit of vertical layering and there's a horizontal sort of modules that can mix and match. That's like a proper music dynamic system. That was hard. It was the most complicated music system I have worked on yet. It really affects how you write. You can't write the 16 measure long melodies because it might get caught out of 3 measures in. This is interesting because this makes a little bit of a difference to what Guild Wars 2 has. It just says it right here. Usually Guild Wars 2 music is ambient, Guild Wars 2 combat, and that's it. So in this, whatever Unannounced project is going to have some sort of layers, depending on how much action happens inside of the game, depending on the type of mood the game has, the music will change according to that. It reminds me a little bit of Hades, as you know, if you play that game, every sort of room you get into, it starts very, very chill, and depending on how many enemies you have, how many enemies you've killed, what is happening, the music will change. And I'm guessing we're gonna get something like that. That kind of hints at me that maybe this project will have a lot of procedurally generated content, but it's very hard to tell, and it's a lot of speculation here, but it's definitely something interesting that they're putting so much effort into the music and ambience of the game. Then he goes on to talk about, this was an interesting expansion. Janther Wells. It was the first expansion we haven't been able to do all live. HOT, POF, EOD, all live orchestra, soloists, sample and things. But Janther Wells, there just wasn't enough money to do it at the same level, which is fine, and I think aesthetically it didn't necessarily require that. This is very interesting because Secrets of the Obscure was actually very successful. He had a lot of money. They won a lot of money with it. So you would think that Janther Wells would be an even more ambitious project, but it doesn't seem like it. It seems like a lot of the money is not going to Guild Wars 2 and the new expansions, but whatever this other project is. And he continues to talk about this here. My role in the music of Guild Wars is both lead composer and music director. So since HOT, I had a team. In this situation, I'm writing some of the music and I'm delegating other music to other people. So with Janther Wells, I wrote music for it, but this was the least I have been able to be involved in these expansions. And the reason was I was working in a different project at the same time. This project is not announced. It'll be announced soon, hopefully in the next couple of months. There was no way as a one person I could handle the responsibility of both of them. And my focus was on getting this project across the finish line. So obviously this is the project we were talking about before, the one recorded in Nashville, that obviously is the same that they recorded at the same time as the Guild Wars 2 Janther Wells expansion. And considering the fact that obviously they recorded this music in last summer, this means that the game must in some sort of way be close to being done. This is very interesting because we already know that there's a lot of people that have been working in Guild Wars 2 that have been moved to the new unannounced project, and that not only that, but that the main composer is moving on onto that as well. And not only that, but ArenaNet is prioritizing this unannounced project to be ready to go before the Guild Wars 2 expansion is very, very telling. Then he goes on to say, I don't even know when the next Guild Wars 2 expansion is or batch of content is going to be. Truly, I have no clue what the plan is for 2025. And that's something I have to find out in January. So right now, he hasn't been hired to do the Guild Wars 2 expansion. Now, this is not really a big deal. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be a Guild Wars 2 expansion. As you could see before, the Janther Wells soundtrack was recorded in summer of 2024, a few months before the actual expansion released. So this is not like uncommon. This most likely it's gonna be what, you know, they're gonna hire him for this expansion very soon anyways. That being said, I'm guessing we're not gonna get any new music for the new patch in January, unless I guess they could use the same one that they recorded in this Nashville recording session, right? Now, what is this project? What are they announcing? It's gonna be very, very hard to tell whether it is the card game that they're developing, the Lion's Arch Arena, or is it gonna be whatever the unannounced project is, as they are both different things, because the Arena project, the ArenaNet project is being done by ArenaNet, and the card game is actually being done by NCSoft. Now, could the music be made from ArenaNet as well, and just that's the only part that they do? Yeah, I guess it could be, but prioritizing this card game over the Guild Wars 2 expansion seems absolutely insane. I really don't think that is the case. I think if anything is gonna be whatever this Unannounced project is not that far away from actually releasing, and it will also be announced very, very soon as well. Now, how is this going to happen? A lot of people, an MMO really takes a lot of time to actually release. Well, it doesn't have to be an exact MMO, it could be something similar-ish to that. It could be an ARPG, for example, with a lot of story focus to invest yourself into what the Guild Wars 2 is. It could be just a huge Guild Wars 2 update and moving to another engine. It could be a situation like Path of Exile 2. It's the same kind of game, but it has a lot of the problems fixed in another game. You keep the same one so people don't complain, but at the same time you fix all the problems that the original one has. I think it's a great idea. And also a lot of the listing for jobs heavily emphasize early access. So I'm guessing they're gonna announce this to get an early access soon-ish, but the actual release of this is probably gonna take a while. If I were to give a ballpark number, I would probably say that the card game is definitely gonna come out this year, as it already was in testing on Steam. I think the this Unannounced project will be announced this year, and the early access will start appearing for us and be able to be played by us on 2026. That's what I'm gonna be guessing. So we have a lot of speculation to be had, a lot of things to talk about. I'm definitely gonna be talking about what I want this game to be, what my speculation is, and give you a good summary of all the evidence we have towards this Unannounced project for you to understand which are actually the possibilities of this game. What do you think will be what it actually is, and we can all have as much information as we can about it. That being said, that's all we have for you today. There's not really that much anymore, but honestly, I think it was a good amount of information out of a random live stream that just happened, just completely randomly. And thank you very much for Red Nui to giving me the leak, the information. I have no idea about this live stream. I had no idea about this entire thing, so I'm very happy that they sent it to me and I could make a video about it. And of course, we can all see about a bit more information about what's coming next for it. And honestly, I'm very excited. I love Guild Wars 2, but having more content about the Guild Wars universe to make Guild Wars 2 itself more popular is never a bad thing, and I'm excited for it. I would like that they put more effort into Guild Wars 2 instead of these other projects, personally, but sometimes you gotta move on, so we'll definitely have to see what's gonna happen in that regard. That being said, that is about it. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live, and if I don't see ya, good morning, good evening, and good night. Bye-bye.